back to the Twisting Podcast. This is your host, 12, of course, coming to you with a banger today. And we're going to be talking about One Piece chapter 1154. Can't even die. Even die. Yamato's pushing through right now. We're on volume 38. Go pay your respect to the grave of the hero born in the West Blue but raised in Ringo. It's a chapter we pick off with 36 years ago. But Joe Rule was, of course, murdered by a young lady who was in a town that ate half the town. Wonder why that sounds so familiar. Because the person who ate half the town and its people in there, of course, is Charlotte Linlin, who we all know to be today as Big Mom. Big Mom went through and actually ate Chief Joe Rule when she was a girl, and she destroyed almost an entire giant village. So this is why she was shunned out. Was like, yeah, no. This girl has to go. She is human. She is a human girl. Half her. She has to go. She can't be here anymore. As they were trying to get back and fix the village that was destroyed, everything like that. The queen, of course, which Loki's mother, is still sitting there and she's ill. Not that she's just ill, but like she's really on her deathbed and believes that Loki is responsible for it because he is the accursed prince, because he was born with such ugly eyes, or the eyes of a demon child, that she doesn't want any part of at all. Now, that sucks because, of course, it's just a baby. The baby isn't born evil. He's just born with traits or tendencies like his parents, which, of course, he takes after his father a lot. He was a menace. Back in the past, King Harold was a menace. And everybody believes that, because the meat and the bread and, all of this stuff is starting to freeze over and not grow back and the crops are bad, that this all has to be up to one person, and this person has to be Loki. When he was born, everything started going wrong in the village. Loki is not the one to blame at all. It's just terrible timing for the most part. But because Loki is, being that finger pointed at him by not only the villagers and the village chiefs, but also his own mother, who says that he's the reason behind all of this. And she can't even look at him in the face anymore, but has to survive still. She could have tried to kill him, but didn't work at all. Would not have worked, I'm pretty sure. The accursed prince, since this is his responsibility, people are looking for fingers to point and blame. And one village idiot finds Herodin, who is the older brother of Loki, and says, you know what? Because you're the older brother, you must pay for what he has caused. So this world is going to come to an end. Your world now will come to an end. And as he goes for that strike, you can see a hand come up covered in armament hockey that knocks the blade away. And as he knocks the blade away, it actually probably isn't armament hockey. It's probably just his gloves. Let me not jump to conclusions with people who may or may not have armament hockey. Wink, wink, chopper. But it's just his gloves, most likely, and it's King Harold. And don't make me pound you, is what he says as he knocks this village full out. Herodin and Ida are both crying now, but it's have no fear still, because King Harold is back, and he did not come back alone. He knew that the village itself, Elbaf, was starting to go bad. It was a lot of suffering and salvation going on. So he went out and made connections with people of different islands throughout the human world. As he made those connections with the human world, those or become his friends or his acquaintance, his different nations that he rocks with. And they all got together and said, you know what, let's help out. Let's bring over this pile of food, and kind of help restore or uplift the kingdom of Elbaf again. Now, as he did that, they helped out a heck of a lot. Mind you, Ida now runs a shop because of that, on the coast, kind of towards the barrel where they first dock at, just because she wants to run a tavern over there. And that tavern, of course, comes with different types of booze, foods, all different things. Kind of like Maki when we met her with Shanks, which is actually a really cool connection to make, because speaking of Shanks, we'll get there when we get there. But as we go through, we realize and start seeing that people, like, you shouldn't worry about what's going on with Loki. Like, Loki's going to be just fine because he is still the king's son. And shortly after, of course, we see King Harold at the funeral for Queen Astrid, who passed away, who blamed everything going on wrong with the kingdom on Loki, of course, and her own son, Loki. She blamed everything upon him because she didn't want anything to do with him. But King Harold looks at it like, okay, cool. I didn't even want this arranged marriage in the first place, but because he wanted to be with Ida, we all know he fell in love with her and went from there. But the prince must have royal blood, and that not just royal blood, but that ancient blood as well, which is why he makes him and King Harold and Astrid mixing together was going to be a good thing for Loki, because Loki came out to be the person who's going to take that throne at the very next time when it were to happen. We're talking about a little bit more things where now Harold is trying to branch out and make the country of Elbaf something more peaceful, more unified between everybody that lives there. So all the giant tribes, let's go around, let's bring them all together and create rules where we can do trade and start actually becoming one country together instead of a division of each one of them. So he's making trade routes now. He has ports put up, that way people who want to come up, that's down in the underworld, when they want to dock right there, they can dock and go from there. Now remember, it's still the underworld now. This is where Ida runs her shop out of. And this is where a lot of the kids are going around, sometimes playing around with as well. But if we jump to the future, which is now from 63 to 56 years ago in the past, and we're looking at the city, the kingdom of Elbaf, we see that it's starting to flourish a little bit more. And Chief Jarul and King Harold, of course, are talking to one another, and of course going through and speaking of ways to improve and also protect Elbaf. Now, when they sit down and start having a conversation, and they ask you about, fellow royals to help out, split inside the soldiers, different types of councilmen inside the world, and just how it's an uproar about different murders that's going on, having a normal conversation, just catching up with everything on a day-to-day basis. But things also go for the worst, because Chief Jarul is also trying to tell him, like, hey, make sure we watch the travelers who come here, because some of them want to just kidnap the giants, poison them, take them back, make them their prisoner, enslave them, and go from there. But it takes hundreds of strong people, of course, to do this. But it's still a threat that has to be done. So now they start thinking about, I wonder if the world government is responsible for sending these people out and capturing giants, and doing this thing for them. So he started to connect the dots and the pieces, of course, to show, like, oh, okay, cool, ding, 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 the world government is corrupt, but he doesn't have the evidence for it just yet. Now, it's very clear that there is a greater enemy out there, that points from the distant past. Whoever it is from distant past, whoever you are, put up to today, because all of the history is sunk under the sea in one day. So he's starting to look at it like, to my point, your failure to win them over might not be your fault. Speaking of that, to Chief Jarul is telling that to King Harold, because King Harold is trying to point the blame at himself when it wasn't him. We all know it's Im-sama. Imu is the one responsible for trying to hide, and kind of like block off the past from the current, because Emu wants to make this completely different and separate, and have nobody have any ties to know what really went on during the Void Century and before then. So stories about the giant army, that's hitting somewhere, and the giant army is, of course, all frozen over, which is crazy to make a connection to, because Saul was frozen over and unfrozen. So it makes me believe that these soldiers may still be preserved. They could be dead, of course, but they could be preserved somewhere, but who's to know? They probably all got wiped out as well. But as they go through some more and they start talking a little bit more, the kids start waking up and start getting a little bit rowdy. Now we're going to push forward into the future again, 48 years now into the past instead of 53. Where King Harold is now watching young Loki and of course young Haruden grow up, and Loki is taming. He's out there with all the beasts from the underworld, and he's pillaging through the village with all the beasts. He's just, come on boys, let's destroy them all. This land of Elbaf is mighty. The weak don't deserve to live. So Loki's running around very similar to how King Harold was, and just trying to destroy everything in his pathway. And of course, who steps up? His big brother, Haruden, steps right up and said, hey, stop making what Dad works so hard to build a destructive waste. All right? All right? You listen to your older brother. You may be bigger than me, but you listen to your older brother. And King Harold... and Prince Loki looks down at young Haruden and simply says, "Schmack! Don't you ever talk back to me again, you shrimp." Because, of course, you know, Haruden isn't full ancient blood, so he's not going to grow up to be as tall as Loki will ever. Loki has a huge growth spurt, and is actually looking down upon Haruden, which, of course, goes from there. But in the eyes of the other kids that are around that see Haruden get hit, Haruden tells them, "Oh, hey, stay back. You know, hey, let's not go too far. Let's not have him thinking that we're friends with him." And Gerald, of course, goes, "Friends with him, but we are, dummy. That's our friend." And simply rushes in, checks to make sure that Haruden's okay, and sends for help. Now, they say it's a little creepy. You're a loser, Haruden. And Loki is talking mad shit to him. But it's not his fault. Loki was born this way. Loki was born strong. Loki was a powerful one. He's the prince, but he doesn't want to, you know, he doesn't want that title to be bestowed upon anybody else but himself, because he is of true royal, ancient giant blood descent. So Prince Haruden is no. Let's never say that. We may be brothers, but we're not at all the same. Your mother is not royalty. Your mother is not of ancient blood. Your mother and my mother are two different people. This is why I'm the prince. Me, Loki, not you, you shrimp. And he looks over, of course, and just simply knows that, like, he's going to do his best to raise hell everywhere he goes. But he's a broken child. Somebody who never knew what love truly was, especially by his own mother. When he was born, he was hated from the start, which made him the accursed prince he is today. And he tried his best, his very best, to stay away, try to die, destroy himself. And it just wouldn't happen until the day he saw somebody land on the island. Not by themselves, though. They brought 3 more people with them. They brought, of course, Whitebeard, Shiki the Golden Lion, and I believe Stutzy. And this person who walked up there believes to be friends with King Harold, because this person is none other than Rox D. Zebek, the captain of the Rox Pirates and father of Blackbeard. What a chapter that was. I am completely stunned and in shock about some things that were revealed, especially from the last panel in there, saying that this is the father of a blank space Blackbeard. Now, it could be somebody in there totally different. It could be Marshall D. Teach, Blackbeard, whatever it is. But we all know Blackbeard to be Marshall D. actual fucking Teach. You know, the guy who made the infamous Flaming Donut possible by giving him over to Sakazuki's punk ass and going with the execution. Now, I won't live in the past. I live in the present. And still fuck you to Roxy Zebek. I mean, not Roxy Zebek. Still fuck you to Sakazuki. And still fuck you to Blackbeard. But I really hope that this Blackbeard isn't the Blackbeard that we're thinking about. Which I could be totally right, because it's a lot of similarities from the face qualities and the facial structures that show that Roxy Zebek is Marshall D. Teach's actual father. Shit. Rox D. Teach could be his name for all we fucking know. But I digress. What a chapter it was. It was, of course, going through the lifespan that we have for the Giants, showing just how the interactions were as kids between Loki and Haruden, and pushing forward to actually showing us who actually destroyed. Like, first off, Charlotte Linland, as a kid, destroyed an entire half of an entire village, especially a giant village. She was just going around eating the things. She was possessed, of course, looking for her whatever she wanted, her red bean soup. Let's go with that. Red bean soup for her. She thought everybody was red bean soup, so she went around just destroying and chomping on whatever she could chomp on. I digress with that because I could get off topic too much. I do want to see what's happening to them next. So I will be dropping the next chapter 55 sometime this week as well. Please stay tuned. 12 is back full effect. We're rocking strong and smiling through the free world. Please make sure you guys are checking out, liking, subscribing, and commenting, and also sharing out anything that we put up on the channel, because it helps push our pages towards people, your friends, aunties, grandmothers, nephew, nieces, brother, sister, cousin, whoever it is. It pushes out towards them as well. That way they can start rocking with us over the 1216 podcast and be a part of one of the greatest fleets ever, that Grand Fleet, the Black Straw Hats Grand Fleet. But this is 12 officially going to be signing off for you all. Make sure you guys, again, hit the like button. Make sure you guys hit the share button, comment, subscribe, check out 16 or me anytime we both go live, drop some videos or anything like that, and get notified every time by check marking that bell. And this is it. We're going to see y'all in the next one. Bang!